10 years. That's how long I carried her words with me. Not like a memory. Not even like regret. Like a thorn. A tiny, sharp splinter buried too deep to remove. Too small to be seen, but always there. Every time I smiled, it scratched something raw inside me. And it all began on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. It was our wedding day. The sun was shining. There was music, laughter, food, family. Everything we'd dreamed of for years. The air itself felt alive, like it was dancing with us. We weren't just celebrating a marriage. We were honoring two cultures, two families, two journeys coming together. It was love. Loud, proud, and beautiful. And in the middle of it all, she came up to me. She smiled. She hugged me. And then, she stabbed me with a sentence I'll never forget. Glad you finally made it right with the Lord. At first, I didn't even react. My brain didn't register what she'd said, not right away. But when it did, my entire body went cold. The drums were still beating in the background, but all I could hear was my own heartbeat, pounding like thunder in my ears. Made it right? As if my love, my marriage, my culture, was just some kind of spiritual correction. Like I'd been wrong until that moment. And marrying someone white made it okay in her eyes? The worst part? She said it like a blessing. Like she was being kind. Let me take a step back. Because context matters. I'm Ojibwe. Indigenous. I come from a community that's rich in tradition, culture, and strength, but also one that's had to fight hard to survive. And my husband? He's Irish. Second-generation Canadian. Raised Catholic. We'd been together for 5 years before we got married. From the very beginning, we both knew. We didn't want a cookie-cutter ceremony. We didn't want white dresses and stained glass and church pews we barely believed in. We wanted something real. Something rooted. Something ours. So we planned a traditional Ojibwe wedding. Not everyone understood it. Not everyone supported it. But we didn't do it for them. We did it for us. For our ancestors. For our future kids. And let me tell you, it was stunning. Bright fabrics, traditional beadwork, smudging ceremonies. Drums that shook the earth. Songs in our language. Laughter and tears that felt like they'd been waiting generations to be heard. The food was made by family. The music wasn't played, it lived. Even now, years later, I can close my eyes and feel it. The beat of the drums echoing in my chest. It was sacred. It was powerful. It was ours. And no, it wasn't about rejecting Christianity. I've always believed people have the right to their faith. But I didn't want religion forced into my wedding day. It was about culture. About love. About authenticity. Most people respected that. Most people smiled, hugged us, danced with us. Most people understood. Most people. She wasn't most people. Late 60s. Always carried herself like she was on God's private guest list. You know the type. Judgy. Passive-aggressive. Believes her way is the way. She stepped up in the line for congratulations. She hugged me stiffly, like it hurt her to do it. And then she leaned in, whispered with a sweet little smile. Glad you finally made it right with the Lord. I wanted to say something. I really did. But it was my wedding day. And I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of a scene. So I smiled. I nodded. And I let her walk away. But that moment, it stayed. It haunted me. Especially knowing that she was on her third husband at the time. Third. And here she was. Judging me. On my wedding day. That one sentence became a splinter under my skin. And I'll be honest with you. I'm a grudge holder. Years passed. We built a life. A good life. We raised kids, celebrated anniversaries, traveled, worked hard, grew stronger as partners. And every once in a while, I'd see her. At the grocery store. The pharmacy. A school event. Still walking like she owned righteousness. Still acting like her sins didn't smell. And every single time I saw her, that little thorn would wiggle just a bit deeper. But I never said anything. I just waited. Because patience? It's a deadly weapon. Then one day, 10 years later, I was leaving the grocery store, arms full of bags, juggling keys, receipts, and oranges falling out of the net. And there she was. Still around. Still judgy. But now, living with a man. Unmarried. Everyone in town knew it. No shame on my end. People make their choices. But hers came with a side of hypocrisy. She saw me and waved like we were old friends. Are you still married? She asked, all chipper. Yes, I smiled. She nodded, turned slightly to leave. And that's when I dropped it. I used the exact same tone she'd once used on me. Soft. Sweet. Like I was just being thoughtful. And congratulations on your marriage. She blinked. Oh. I'm not married. I tilted my head. Played dumb. Oh. I just assumed. You're living with a man, and I thought. Otherwise, wouldn't that be, living in sin? I paused. If I were you, I'd make that right with the Lord. Silence. Real silence. She didn't speak. Didn't smile. Didn't breathe for a second. She just looked at me. Then turned and walked away. And from that day, she's been quiet. No more backhanded blessings. No more holy attitude. No more judgment. Nothing. And honestly, that silence was louder than any argument I could have had with her. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't messy. But it was mine. And it was perfect. Because sometimes, revenge doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be cruel. It just has to be timed. And when it is, all you need is one sentence. And silence does the rest. Direct hit if this story gave you chills. If it made you smile just a little bit, hit that like button. Speech balloon and tell me in the comments. What's the longest you've ever waited to get your revenge? Bellhop Bell subscribe for more real stories, raw moments, and poetic justice. Because here, we don't just tell stories. We remember them. And remember, karma never forgets.